Hello everyone, I am Emma, and this year I turned 82. Most people believe that when parents arrange a marriage for their daughter, they're doing it out of love and wisdom. They think it's the safe choice, and every single morning when I wake up, the first thing I feel is the same heavy ache in my chest that started on my wedding day in 1965. My own parents handed me over to a complete stranger, a man I had never spoken to, never even seen before the ceremony. They said it was for my future. They said it was love. They lied. That decision cost me 57 years of fear, bruises, silence, and a marriage that felt like a life sentence. I stayed because I was taught that a good daughter obeys. I stayed because I was terrified of what would happen if I didn't. And now, at 82, I finally understand the worst part. I lost myself completely. If your parents are pressuring you to marry someone you don't know, please stop everything and listen to me right now. This is my story, and I'm telling it so you don't have to live it. I was born in a small farming town in rural Ohio in 1942, the only daughter in a strict Catholic family. My parents believed in tradition above everything. A girl's place is in her husband's home, my mother would say, while she ironed my father's shirts. From the time I was 12, they started talking about finding me a good match. I had dreams. I wanted to be a teacher. I loved reading to the younger kids at church. I even wrote little stories in secret at night, under the covers with a flashlight. But every time I mentioned college or a career, my father would slam his fist on the table. We didn't raise you to waste money on books. You'll marry, and that's final. I met my first real love at 17, a quiet boy named Thomas who worked at the hardware store. We talked for hours on the porch swing. He made me laugh until my stomach hurt. For the first time, I felt seen and valued for who I really was. But one evening, my father saw us together and dragged me inside by the arm so hard it left bruises. That night, he told me Thomas was not good enough, and that arrangements had already been made with the Miller family across the county. I cried for weeks. My mother just stroked my hair and whispered, "This is how it's always been, Emma. You'll learn to love him. Women always do." The day I met my husband Robert was the day I married him, June 12th, 1965. I was 23, he was 31, tall, broad-shouldered, and completely silent during the entire ceremony. I remember standing there, in my mother's old lace dress, shaking so badly the bouquet rattled in my hands. When the priest said, "You may kiss the bride," Robert leaned in and I smelled whiskey on his breath. That night, in the honeymoon cabin my parents paid for, he didn't speak a single kind word. He just took what he wanted. When I cried afterward, he told me to stop being dramatic. "You're my wife now," he said coldly. "This is what wives do. Get used to it." The first time he hit me was 3 months later. I had burned the potatoes while trying to cook his favorite meal. He backhanded me so hard I fell against the stove and split my lip. The next morning he acted like nothing happened. He even brought me flowers. I told myself it was my fault. I told myself I just needed to be a better wife. Year after year, I learned to walk on eggshells. I learned the exact tone of voice that would keep him calm. I learned to cover bruises with long sleeves, even in the hottest summer. I learned to smile at church on Sunday, while my body was still sore from Saturday night. We had 3 children, Sarah in 1967, Michael in 1970, and little Anna in 1974. I loved them with every broken piece of me, but love in that house always came mixed with fear. Robert never hit the kids, thank God, but they saw everything. Sarah once asked me at age 9 why Mommy sometimes had a black eye. I lied and said, I fell down the stairs. Michael stopped talking to his father completely by 15 and started staying out late just to avoid the house. Anna, sweet Anna, ran away at 17 and didn't come back for many years. I wrote her letters for years that she never answered at first. I don't blame her. I was supposed to protect them, but I couldn't even protect myself. The loneliness was suffocating. Robert worked construction and drank every single night at the bar. I stayed home, cooking, cleaning, smiling at church, like the perfect wife everyone thought I was. Inside, I was screaming every day. I kept a little notebook hidden under the mattress, where I wrote the things I could never say out loud. I wish I had run away the night before the wedding. I wish I had told my mother no, even if it meant being disowned. I wish I had chosen Thomas and lived a real life. Those pages were my only friends for decades. Robert died of a heart attack in 2017 when he was 83. I was 75. The morning after the funeral, my daughter Sarah, who had finally started speaking to me again, handed me a small wooden box my mother had left in her will. She had passed 10 years earlier, but the lawyer said it was only to be opened after Robert was gone. Inside was a letter in my mother's shaky handwriting. Dearest Emma, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone, and you just don't die inside it like I did. Love forever, Mama. I sat on the kitchen floor and cried for 4 straight hours. That letter broke me and saved me at the same time. All those years my own mother had known and carried the guilt to her grave, and I had carried the pain alone. After that letter, something inside me finally snapped. At 75 years old, I did what I should have done at 23. I sold the house Robert built with his own hands. I moved into a tiny apartment near Sarah. I started painting again, something I hadn't done since I was a girl. I joined a support group for survivors of domestic violence. For the first time in my life, I said the words out loud in front of other women. My name is Emma, and I was abused for 52 years. They held me while I shook. They told me I was brave. I didn't feel brave. I felt late, but I felt alive for the first time in decades. A few months later, Anna finally reached out. She had been waiting for me to leave that house too. Now we talk every week, and she even brings her own children to visit. I even wrote a letter to Thomas. He had been married once but lost his wife many years ago. He wrote back 2 weeks later. We met for coffee. He took my hand across the table and said, I never stopped thinking about you, Emma. We're friends now, nothing more. I'm too old for romance, but that friendship healed something I thought was broken forever. Today I'm 82. I still have nightmares sometimes. My hands still shake when I hear a door slam too loud. My body still carries the scars, but I also have peace. I have my grandchildren who visit every Sunday and call me Grandma Emma with real love in their voices. I have my paintings on the wall, and most importantly, I have my voice. I'm not the quiet, obedient girl my parents raised anymore. I'm Emma, just Emma, and that's enough. If you're a young woman watching this and your parents are arranging your marriage to someone you don't know, I'm begging you, run. Run while you still can. Love cannot be forced. Safety cannot be negotiated. Your happiness is not a bargaining chip for family pride. Talk to someone, a teacher, a counselor, a friend, anyone. Do not make my mistake. And if you're older like me and you're still carrying the weight of someone else's choices, it's never too late to take your life back, even if it's just one small step, even if it's just speaking your truth today. If this story touched you, please share it with one young woman who needs to hear it. Comment below with the letter E if you're sending strength to someone in an arranged marriage right now. And if you're a parent watching this, promise me you'll never force your daughter into a cage and call it love. Thank you for listening to an old woman's broken heart. I've waited 6 years to say these words. I hope they reach you before it's too late.